Hello, friends. Welcome back to the second evening of fourth edition of Lifft India Filmotsav and Awards World Cinefest 2020. We left the evening yesterday with part one, and today we are going to be revealing the part two. So I will hand over the evening once again to Sahitya and Snigdha to carry forward the proceedings. Bye,
Thank you so much.
Sahitya.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Snigdha.
Hi Riju. Good evening, everyone.
So it's over to you, Sahitya.
Thank you for having us, and it's an honor. Literature, Illusion, Film Frames, Television and Theatre India, known as Lift India, established in 2017 by its founder, Mr. Riju Bajaj, welcomes you all to the grand finale of its fourth edition of Lift India Filmotsav and Awards World Cinefest 2020, Part 2. Let's begin and resume from where we left off yesterday. Over to you, Snigdha.
Thank you, Sahitya. As promised last evening, we shall be announcing the winners for feature films and web series for Lift India Awards 2020. But before that, let us update you on what we have been up to at Lift India Studios. Lift India Studios has been busy in executing production and film shoot of short films Do You Love Me, RIP Raster Image Processor, and web series Sarthi Lift India Taxi Cab. Lift India Studios has also commenced principal shooting of its first feature film titled Kesro, featuring Shruti Bhardwaj and Sahitya Sahay in lead roles. The film is being directed by Riju Bajaj, who has also written the screenplay. The story and dialogues are written by famous Hindi playwright Miss Tripurari Sharma. Lift India Filmotsav World Cinefest 2020 opened entry of films on 1st July and announced the list of officially selected films on 1st November 2020 via its website. The complete list of official selection, nominees, and winners can be accessed on our website www.liftindia.com. Talking of websites reminds one of the internet, and as we all know, that internet has paved the way for new digital content, especially web series, that's serving as a platform for content that is in between feature films and satellite television serials. The period during COVID-19 pandemic saw a steep rise in consumption of entertainment content available on the internet, that is web, and it's time now to declare the winners of Lift India Awards 2020 for web series. There are over 100 categories of Lift India Awards, and some are specially dedicated and named after the eminent film personalities as a mark of tribute to Renu Saluja, Ismail Merchant, Khemchand Prakash, Sameer Chanda, V.K. Murthy, and Om Puri. The Om Puri Award for Best Actor is in conjunction with Om Puri Foundation, and a new edition for Best Sound Design named in the memory of late Mangesh Desai was instituted in 2019. We thank his daughter, Miss Sucheta Lad, for having given us the consent to institute this award in his memory. The Lift India jury members include Ram Gopal Bajaj, Gyan Sahay, Rajesh Touchriver, Naini Dikshit, Abhimanyu Ray, and Mr. Riju Bajaj. Over to you, Sahitya.
Thank you, Snigdha. Lift India expresses gratitude to Faryaz Resort for their unconditional support and a very special vote of thanks to our online digital media partners, The Dialogue and Cinestan. Also, we'd like to thank the entire team of Lift India for their continuous attachment and commitment. Now, this brings us to the last and final segment of Lift India Awards 2020. Last but not the least, it's time to declare the winners of feature film category.
Huge congratulations to all the winners. I think that about wraps up the proceedings of today's evening. But before we call it a night, we must ask the founder of Lift India, Mr. Riju Bajaj, what was his experience like to put up a festival of this magnitude entirely on digital format? Riju?
Thank you, Snigdha, for asking that question. I was hoping that we'll wrap up the evening as soon as the award slides get over. I am a little startled with this question of yours, and it has been absolutely exhausting For me personally, and I'm sure for my jury members and the selection panelists, Sahitya has been on our selection panel and he has been watching films for past 6 months, day and night out. And he has also conducted Q&A sessions with the filmmakers. We've done Q&A sessions all around the day at very odd hours because we were trying to match up with the times of the filmmakers from around the world living in different time zones. And there was a
Hmm.
moment that I, in person, started feeling like a zombie because trying to coordinate with somebody at 2 o'clock in the midnight or 6 o'clock in the morning, then have a 11 o'clock session for the Q&A, or have again a 4 o'clock, or have a back-to-back Q&A sessions for at least 3-4 hours continuously. And Madhvi, she has been a pillar to us and supporting in the Q&A sessions and leading and introducing the Q&A sessions for us. Shruti Bhardwaj and Sahitya have contributed immensely in selecting the films. And my jury members, Mr. Rajesh Touch River, he is National Film Awardee himself. He's got 3 National Film Awards from the IFFI, which is International Film Festival of India, which is held in Goa. And he's also the member of jury with the IFFI a couple of times. And Mr. Gyan Sahay himself has been on the jury member of Goa IFFI. Multiple times. Mr. Ram Gopal Bajaj has also been a jury member with the Goa IFFI multiple times. And I'm really honored to have these people on board as jury members for Lift India. And they have been a pillar of strength and they have been watching these films and giving the guidance and assurances how the films need to be treated, how they have to be looked upon, and how they can be totally impartial in and imparting the judgments for the films. I mean, most of the times we do not know the filmmakers, we do not know the actors or the technicians involved in those films. We have
Hmm.
to, I personally had to, if one jury member tells me, like Yanji says, I am giving the award, I want that the award should go to this person, we don't know that person's name. So I have to take a snapshot of that, send it to the filmmaker, and ask who is this person, or who is the editor, or who is the cinematographer, because most of the times the films that we have, since they have come from more than 50 countries across the world and they are in different languages,
425 entries, I've heard, right?
they are the official selections. We got more than 2000 film entries.
Oh my
So
God,
out
that
of
does
that
sound
we
exhausting.
shortlisted. Yes,
So,
so out of
Sahitya,
that
have you been
we
a part of this panel from the very beginning? Were you also involved?
I joined this team from the third edition, and that was when I was actively involved. So this is my second time around, and yeah, like Riju sir said, we have had more than
But
2,000
how
films.
did you watch 2000 films,
No, I was
Riju? I
on
really
the
want
short
to know.
film selection with Shruti, and so we had around 200 and 300 films to watch. So yeah, it took us a while, but we got there slow and steady.
God.
And there are a lot of scripts which are unfilmed scripts which are looking for a producer to be made, to be filmed, short films or feature films that again Sahitya and Shruti have to go through those scripts, read and pass a judgment, which is the potent script to be awarded, which a producer must look at and should look at to turn it into production. And having gone through so many films and finally coming down to 425, it's over 425 to be precise, I would say around 440 or something.
Hmm.
uh, but 425 sounds a round figure, so we quote those numbers. And then finally boiling down to over 100 awards, actually, which we have just announced in these past 2 days, which is in part one and the part two. If we take the exact numbers, then there are about 105 awards this year which have been announced by the Lift India. And it is a very interesting zone living in the online arena because it's like Matrix, and you are in control of things only in one place. You're not spending time going to the venues for the transportations, auditoriums, and the flexes and the vinyls and the pamphlets. So there is almost like a zero carbon footing that we work on,
Yes, that's true. That's
which
true.
is popularizing the green culture. So it is reducing
Hmm.
a lot of pollution and it saves a lot of time. But when we say it saves a lot of time is in running around, but we spend a lot of time and a lot more time in front of our computers in coordinating with people, because when it things become easy, they also
Hmm.
become a little more complicated and they become vast. The magnitude is expanded to the level that one has to coordinate with so many people around the world, and it's an excitement, and it drives you and motivates you to connect to even more, you know. So I seriously feel that yes, 2000 films, getting 2000 films, selecting 400 films is a tiresome job, but I'm looking forward to at least 10,000 films in a year, or shortlisting, 2000
My God.
films. There are the big see. That is why so many festivals are surviving across the world. Which means what? And mostly, no two festivals have the same films. So, which means there is a diversity. There is a quantity in the number of films which are existing and are looking for market avenues. I have been in conversations with some of the top film distributors, especially the digital distributors, for example, with Vista India and from Z, Ms.
Hmm.
Vima Chopra. She's the head of the distribution over there. She spoke, and how she introduced how this distribution system works and operates, and what is there for the independent filmmakers, and how the horizons of the doors are opening for these independent filmmakers, which is
Hmm.
really amazing. And it's an eye opener that there is a big market for the independent filmmakers. So we are trying to create that market, trying to tap that market, or have an access to an existing market, or to tell the existing distributors to create a market for them. So whichever happens, it's all good, and more festivals, more awards is merrier and is good for the independent filmmakers. And I'm just loving this online space. There's so much that we can do on
I did
this.
watch a lot of your question and answer sessions also. And the good thing about Lift India is that it's not only about films, but it's also about other art forms like paintings. And you're nurturing all the other. I think you also gave awards to singers, music videos,
Yes.
and very many other art
Well,
fields.
this
I
year,
think
yes,
that's something
this
which
is
is
the
very
first
unique.
year. Yeah, this is the first year that we established the Lift India Music Awards, full-fledged music awards, and the kind of music video albums that we received are acknowledged all around the world. They are brilliant piece of work, and especially the song Wonderwall, which is in tribute to the deceased who died during the Chernobyl. They commemorate
Hmm.
every year, and they remember the people that lost lives in that incident, and the song is a tribute to that, and how a love story. They have a very cute love story in that. It's a beautiful song and lyrics. Um, and so on and so forth. I mean, there's so many things which independent filmmakers are doing, either by making films or video albums and creating music. I mean, that is one space where we know that a lot of musicians start out performing in a club or a restaurant, or weddings and parties, etc., and how they evolve into finally singing or playback for a film or a video album. Like we have Muhammad Atif, who sang the song for Marigarai. It's a Tamil Malayali song. I think he got the best singers award for that. What a voice! What a voice! And what a piece of music that Marigarai has. I think we've got a A.R. Rahman in the making. And of course,
I
Palumi
must check him
Ghosh.
out.
She's a, yeah, of course. They are available on the YouTube. In fact, most of these kind of works, which are the short films or the music albums or the videos, are available on YouTube, which is why we didn't need to play them on our platform. And most of these films, a lot of people have been asking you why you're not screening the films, for two reasons. One, of course, because of the COVID-19, it has impacted everybody, and we cannot take a risk by going to the auditoriums and calling people and having gathering of more
Hmm.
than 20, 25 people or 50 people, and give or promote COVID-19, whereas we are supposed to promote the independent filmmakers. We can't promote a disease. So I chose to remain online, which I decided way back in the month of May. I had spoken to a lot of filmmakers around the world, and they said it's the best thing that you stick to the online. even if COVID disappears by December, because this is a decision that we took in May, and
Hmm.
it could have been that COVID could have disappeared in another month or two, or maybe by September and October, kind of a thing. Uh,
Okay.
but it
Very
did not
far-fetched.
disappear. So yeah, I mean, so it was very interesting to have these discussions with the filmmakers, and especially all around the world. It's not that I was talking to people only in India. I was talking to people
Hmm.
all around the world and taking their feedbacks and what they think would be the right decision or the way forward
Hmm.
to take a festival or to keep the festival alive. So the foremost idea was to keep the festival alive, to keep the awards alive, and
Of
keep that
course.
hope alive in the filmmakers that there is a platform which is accepting their films and will be
Hmm.
screening the films or showing the films, or at least recognizing their films even in these hard times of COVID-19, which is full of hopelessness and given dejection to a
Of
lot of
course. And
people.
life is not stopped. So art has not stopped and people are creating. So one has to give that
Absolutely, it's
hope
like the show
to,
must go on. I mean, so why should we
yes.
stop? So, of course, we had to take a lot of preemptive measures. We had to anticipate a lot of things. There were a lot of pitfalls. There have been a lot of glitches. There have been a lot of problems. Sponsors backed out. The financial constraints, the location availability, and not knowing the technology online, how to go about it. So one had to unlearn a lot of things and at the same time learn a lot of things to be
Hmm.
in stride with the times, especially online, and ensure that we keep everything safe, because most of the films that we get, 90% of the films that we have, are unreleased films. So one has
Hmm.
to be really very careful in protecting uh, the films from leaking out in the market. One
Hmm.
that
From
is a
piracy, which is a very, very big.
that's of
Yeah.
course. So a lot of people said you should be screening the films online, do it on a Zoom or do it on a any other platform or your YouTube channel and all. I could have done it. It's one can just has to press a button and put it online. It's very
Yeah.
easy and convenient.
Hmm.
But if we do that, then we are putting a film in a public domain, which is prone to screen grabbings. um, we
And the
have been
films are
facing
mostly unreleased. They are not even
mostly
released. The
unreleased,
films are,
absolutely mostly unreleased. 90% of the films are unreleased, so we obviously cannot take that risk
hmm.
and put and jeopardize the privacy of these films until unless they're sold. I mean, once they're sold and out in the market and then they come on an internet platform and a public platform like this, then one does not mind. I mean, so
Hmm.
that is the foremost top priority, and which is why when we select our team who are being shared with these films, one has to have an absolute faith in them and their trust that they are not going with the reason of the films to be leaked out. So
Hmm.
it is one has to choose the people very rightly.
Of
And
course.
I thank my team that they have lived up to that expectation and they realize this importance and the gravity of the matter,
Hmm.
and which is why we are able to carry forward this festival like this online. Uh, in spite of hearing that one should have shown the films online, we chose not to show, but to recognize to by giving them an official selection status or the nomination status and finally the winner status. So I guess this is an accolade which should be recognized and will be recognized with the people around and the journalists in the film fraternity, because this festival is primarily aimed at the film fraternity. It is not for the masses. But yes, if the masses get along and come along and are participating in the festival, brilliant.
Kudos to you, Riju, for putting up this festival, mostly, of course, with your team, but mostly single-handedly also. I mean, you have been a force to reckon with. Even the pandemic could not stop Lift India from having its fourth edition, and that is something which is applause worthy.
I would say that during the pandemic, when people had nothing to do, I had Left India Filmotsav and Awards, World Cinefest to do. And that kept me busy and motivated and inspired to go along. And it deviated my mind from what's happening around the world. And so it kept me busy, yes.
So I think we are coming to an end of this evening, and this is also the grand finale and the last evening for Lift India Mahotsav. Uh, and then Now, shall we wrap it up?
Yes, of course. I mean, I like the word that you used, Mahotsav, because we have been using the word Filmotsav. And since you know the format of the festival, that it involves painting exhibitions, theater or literature, book readings, dance performances, music performances, talent hunt, fashion show. All these are the things which complete Lift, because that's what Lift stands for, like literature, illusion, film, frame, TV, and theater, where F is also for food, for fashion, T is for travel, and I is for
And what is
institute.
illusion for? I really want to know.
Illusion is like we do, you have VFX, you have the 3D mappings, you have the magic shows. Like what we are right now doing is also part of an illusion. It comes in
Magic
that
shows.
internet, yes.
That's amazing.
So
That's
yeah,
something so unique.
and I also stands for the intelligence and institute,
Information.
so which is and information, of course, because everything is based on information. So the word lift the is very thoughtfully selected, and all these letters stand for something or the other, which is connected to our fields.
So that brings us to the end of Lift India Mahotsav. And this has been a very beautiful evening. And thank you all for being a lovely audience. Thank you, Sahitya, for being my
It's been an
co-host.
honor and looking forward to 2021 and wishing all our viewers a very happy new year. Stay safe and see you at the movies.
Yes, happy new year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
I'm very happy new year.
Bye. Thank you, Snigdha. Thank you,
Good
Sahitya.
evening, everyone. And thank you, Riju, for having me
Thank you.
over. It has been a complete pleasure, honor, and privilege.
Thank you.